I myself received my diagnosis of bipolar 4 years ago. Since then, I was actively learning about this disorder, and again I came across statistics, across numbers where I could only be shocked. And while right now in my everyday life I feel like I'm doing a good job in living with bipolar, these numbers sometimes really shock us what it will potentially, statistically, effectively mean for my life in general. Like the fact that people with bipolar are 15 to 20 times more likely to complete suicide than the general population. I personally find that shocking, and I find it hard to comprehend, and still important to know and important to potentially have this in the back of my mind to understand the gravity of the situation I am in. In this video, I've compiled a number of statistics. Interesting ones, shocking, saddening. I would just like to share them with you. Bipolar affects approximately 2.8% of the US American adult population. 2.8%. We're actively dealing with bipolar disorder in the last year. And bipolar disorder is more likely to affect the children of parents who have bipolar disorder. And here, the chance that a child where one parent has bipolar disorder will develop bipolar disorder themselves is between 15 and 30%. Age of onset. The average age of onset for bipolar disorder is 25 years old. But in general, the illness can also start in early childhood up to your 40s or 50s. Also, bipolar disorder is equally common in men and women. And it is also found across all races, ethnic groups, and social classes. Diagnosis. Bipolar disorder is often misdiagnosed or undiagnosed, with an average delay of 5 to 10 years between symptom onset and diagnosis. And bipolar is commonly misdiagnosed as depressive disorder, with up to 40% of people with bipolar to be initially misdiagnosed. In fact, only 1 in 4 receive an accurate diagnosis within the first 3 years. But there is a gender bias when it comes to diagnosis. Women are far more likely to be misdiagnosed with depressive disorder, and men are far more likely to be misdiagnosed with schizophrenia. Now we come to the topic of suicide, so there is also here a small trigger warning. People with bipolar disorder are at a higher risk for suicide, with up to 20% of people with bipolar disorder dying by suicide. With that, the suicide rate of people with bipolar disorder is 15 to 20 times higher than that of the general population. In general, bipolar disorder is the most deadly mental health disorder because there are moments in which a person that had been in depression and might have idealized suicide suddenly have a jump in energy and is able to actually complete plans that were made. And these moments of going from depression back into a more energized state are the most risky ones. This reduces the average life expectancy of people with bipolar by 9.2 years. And while up to 20% may complete suicide, it is between 25 and 60% of people with bipolar disorder who in their lifetime will attempt suicide. And to me, that number is incredibly shocking because statistically, I'm more likely to attempt suicide than not. And it's hard for me to imagine the suffering and the pain and the loneliness that I might still experience in my life, and that might get me to that point. But for now, the only thing I can do is do the things that help me stay stable and try to stay stable. Okay, disability. Bipolar disorder is worldwide the 6th leading cause for disability. And another fact on the genetics, up to 80% of individuals with bipolar disorder also have a family history. Bipolar disorder is often inherited, And up to 80% of people with bipolar also have a family history of mood disorders, so bipolar and depression. Up to 2/3 of people with bipolar actually have a family member that has bipolar as well. So we know that there is some sort of heritable component, but at the same time there's also people who do not have any family members and still become bipolar themselves. Those are all the statistics for today. Remember, if you or someone you know might need help, please do seek professional mental health help, because with proper treatment and support, people with bipolar can lead a wonderful life. The sources on these statistics are beneath the video. In general, we have the National Institute of Mental Health, the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, the World Health Organization, and the National Alliance of Mental Illness, who have published these statistics on their own websites. And with that, I see you in the next video.